The Villisca Axe Murders in 1912, Villisca, Iowa, existed in a version of America that no longer exists. It was a town defined by routine and trust, where neighbors recognized each other as footsteps on wooden sidewalks, and where danger was something read about in distant newspapers. Doors were rarely locked, not because people were careless, but because nothing had ever given them reason to be afraid. Josiah Moore understood this town well. He was a successful businessman, disciplined, respected, and known for his punctual habits. His wife, Sarah, managed the household with quiet precision. Their 4 children lived within a predictable rhythm of school, chores, and church. On the evening of June 9th, the family attended a church program as they often did. 2 young girls, friends of the Moore children, were invited to spend the night. It was the sort of invitation that required no discussion, no concern, and no second thoughts. That night, the Moore house settled into silence. Lamps were extinguished. Beds were occupied. The house did what it had always done. It slept. Sometime after midnight, that routine was broken. There was no forced entry, no shattered glass, no broken locks. Whoever entered the house did so without resistance, without urgency, and without fear of interruption. The axe used in the murders was not carried into the home. It belonged to the Moore family. It was taken from their own property, suggesting that the killer did not arrive prepared for violence, but instead chose violence once inside. Each victim was attacked while asleep. The pattern of the wounds revealed something deeply unsettling. This was not a chaotic act. The blows were repeated, deliberate, and controlled. The killer moved from room to room with purpose, ensuring that no one was left alive to interrupt what was unfolding. This was not an explosion of rage. It was a sequence. After the killings, the intruder did not flee. Instead, he remained inside the house. Investigators later noted details that could not be explained by necessity. The axe appeared to have been wiped clean. Mirrors throughout the house were covered with cloth. Windows were shaded. These actions served no practical purpose. They did not prevent escape. They did not conceal the crime. They suggested something else entirely: ritual, habit, or an attempt to control the environment after death had already occurred. When the bodies were discovered the following morning, Villisca reacted not with restraint, but with shock-fueled chaos. Neighbors rushed in. Word spread faster than authority could respond. By the time law enforcement attempted to secure the scene, dozens of people had already walked through the house. Footprints overlapped. Objects were touched. Evidence was moved. Whatever story the crime scene could have told was permanently distorted. In the months that followed, the investigation struggled under the weight of its own compromises. Suspects emerged based on suspicion rather than proof. A traveling preacher whose sermons disturbed locals. A former business associate with a temper and unresolved grievances. A man later linked to similar axe murders across the Midwest. Confessions were made and withdrawn. Trials were held and collapsed. Nothing held under scrutiny. What made the case unbearable was the realization that Villisca might not have been unique. Across multiple states, families had been killed in their sleep under strikingly similar circumstances. Axes taken from the homes. Victims attacked at night. Scenes arranged afterward. Whether these crimes were connected was never formally established, but the similarities were impossible to ignore. Over time, Villisca became more than a crime. It became a fracture in the American imagination, a reminder that violence did not always announce itself, and that safety could be an illusion maintained only by habit. The Moore house still stands. It has outlived the people who once filled it, and it has absorbed the weight of the unanswered questions left behind. Stories of strange sounds and disturbances would later surround the property, but those stories matter less than the undeniable truth at the center of the case. 8 people were murdered, and the person responsible was never held accountable. The Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved, not because the truth was unknowable, but because it was lost early, trampled by panic, curiosity, and the limits of early investigation. Some crimes fade with time, others harden into silence. This one never softened.